Hi, I'm Shoestring Jane. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about all things thrifty, frugal and sustainable. And I'm sorry if the picture's not very good today. I'm actually using the camera on my laptop because I want to read from my phone and I don't have a proper camera for YouTube. The reason I'm using it today is because I asked my Facebook group, my Secondhand and Frugal Life, what small frugal habits they did that don't perhaps save a mass amount of money, but the savings probably add up to a significant amount over time. And it's just interesting to see people's point of view on this. So I thought I would share, because when things are overwhelming and everything is so expensive, that if you could just focus on small things and small achievements, that can help keep morale up. That's what I find anyway. So I thought I would share. So I asked the question and I gave my examples as when I went out to work, always taking lunch with me. My other things was washing my own car, which I still do. Don't do it very often, I have to say, because I have to wash it myself. Washing it and vacuuming the inside myself saves money. I mean, it costs probably £15 to £20 to get your car done, doesn't it? And my other thing was meal planning. So meal planning is a small thing, takes 10 to 15 minutes to sit and plan our meals for the week and then write a shopping list based on that. And I think that's probably one of the biggest money savers, actually, because we can spend a lot of money on groceries, can't we? And end up wasting groceries if we don't have a plan for them. And when things are so expensive, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to buy food that's going to go straight in the bin. You might as well just chuck your cash in the bin, and you wouldn't do that, would you? So meal planning is a good one. Anyway, let me get on to what my clever members said. So Julie says, making a picnic and taking coffee in a flask when we go out for the day. Our only spend is the fuel for the car. We love our days out and eating with a view that is stunning. And I really agree with that. That's something that we have done for years as well. Sometimes we've asked for memberships like the National Trust or the RHS, which is Open Gardens, Royal Horticultural Society, or English Heritage. And we've asked for those kind of gifts for memberships for Christmas and birthdays. So then that gives us a focus and lots of places to go to, and we'll take food and drink with us and costs us nothing. It's good with kids because, you know, they get irritated when you're queuing and it costs so much money. If you've got yourself, maybe a partner and a load of kids with you, just to eat out wherever you go adds such a lot of cost to your day that, you know, taking food with you, really, even if you bought it already made, it would be so much cheaper. Melanie says, and this is a good one, for those of you that buy bottled water when you're out and about, I always take a water bottle with me. So, but you do sometimes run out when you're out and about. She's just downloaded the Refill app, which tells her where she can get free drinking water when she's out and about. So she always has a full water bottle with her, but now she doesn't have to pay extortionate amounts for bottled water refills on a hot day. That's a really good tip. Getting the Refill app. I'm going to investigate that because I didn't know about that. So she also takes showers at the gym, which she has a very cheap membership for thanks to an NHS health scheme. So she takes the showers there, saving on water and also the energy to heat the water. As soon as her husband whinges that we need new toothpaste, she snips the bottom off, turns the tube upside down and dips her toothbrush in. Really makes sense, doesn't it, to use the very last of everything that you've paid for and not waste it, because sometimes there's a lot of products still left in the bottom of tubes of toothpaste and makeup and shampoo and ketchup and all sorts of things. Elizabeth says, definitely buying second-hand. I've just bought three seemingly brand new towels for £1.99 each day today from Age UK. Get your teeth back in, Jane. The t-shirt I'm wearing I bought second-hand in a charity shop near my mum's yesterday. It cost me £1 whole. The jeans I've got on also cost £1 from a charity shop. I've been wearing them. They're the best jeans I've had because they fit really well. They fit my shape really well. So they were on the pound rail, the clearance rail at the charity shop as well. So Christine says, we have a septic tank. The drain occasionally gets blocked when visitors use too much paper by miles. We've saved huge sums of money by having our own drain rods. So they deal with blockages themselves, which saves calling a professional out. So that's a good one. Okay, Jackie says, make lists and prioritise the essential jobs or essential items to buy. So that I do that. I'm a real list maker. It really helps to focus your attention on the things that are important. So it saves you time and it saves you money. I'd never go shopping without a list. Even if it's not food shopping, any sort of shopping, I'll have a list either with me on paper or on my phone. Karen says turning bottles upside down and letting gravity move the last bits of contents to be used before recycling. So yeah, that's what we just mentioned. Kathy says never throw anything away. I don't know if I agree with this. I think I don't like a lot of clutter, but keep it organised. Even cardboard can make great templates for art projects. I think it depends what you do, doesn't it? I used to keep bits of cardboard to make shopping list. As it is, I've got so much scrap paper that I'm using that now, but I do use scrap paper, so I've got it clipped together with bulldog clip. So it depends really what it is and whether you're going to use it. I don't think keeping it for its own sake is very good, really. I think you can get deluged by stuff and then end up buying more things because you don't know what you've got. But it's a good point if you know you're going to be doing art things. You keep all of those scraps that you might use for your art projects. That particularly stands for children, I think, because again, I had a box like that, a craft box. All sorts went in there, even toilet rolls. I know people are funny about the insides of toilet rolls, but they're the insides of toilet rolls. So I'd keep all sorts of things, sweet wrappers, and my kids would make all sorts of marvellous creations with a bit of glue and glitter when they were little. I live in the country, so lucky enough to find fallen branches that over time accumulate and are ideal to burn in winter if you have a log burner. Very good point. Again, we used to have a log burner. I really miss it. Joy says always getting books secondhand or ordering more specific ones that can't find secondhands from the library. Absolutely yes. Use your libraries. Use them or lose them. Diane says shop around for everything from food to furniture. Buy everything secondhand, from clothes to tools. I sew, but buy cheaper fabric and upcycle a lot too when I can. Yeah, that's good as well. I buy everything secondhand. And even when I'm buying secondhand, I'll shop around as well. And I have been given a sewing machine, but I haven't had time to actually use it yet. If I can get back into sewing, I'll certainly be looking to upcycle clothing and reuse fabric. Amanda says, I save the warm shower water and use it to flush the toilets, or the warm-up shower water, so the bit where it comes out cold. So get a bucket in your shower, save that water, use it to flush the loo. You can also use it to water your plants, can't you, now that it's so warm? Her water is metered and costs a fortune. My water is also metered, so I'm trying to save where I can. We've got water butts, and I do also save bits of water here and there. But obviously we're using more water at the moment to water the garden. Marina says she does clothes swapping with friends. She hasn't bought anything new in years. That's a really good idea. You could make a kind of party of it. It works when your friends are a similar size to you, doesn't it? If you're much bigger or much smaller than your friends, it wouldn't work. Meal planning, taking inventory and pantry first. So I think, every now and then just doing an inventory of everything you've got, doing that reverse meal planning where you are meal planning based on the ingredients already in the house and creating something from what you've got and then just topping up where you need to. Take advantage of bog-offs, so buy one, get one free, only if it's something you need. They don't do those very much in the supermarkets that I tend to use, like Lidl and Aldi. But if you haven't got one of those, if you don't use Lidl or Aldi for whatever reason, and you can find bog-offs in your local supermarket, then that's really worth stocking up on things that are non-perishable. If Marina goes to a restaurant, she asks for water. She has a mini chocolate bar in her purse to avoid paying $10 to $12, so she's from America, for a dessert. Sarah has furnished her whole house from Freecycle. Sofa, coffee table, coffee machine, a huge American bed. All the things are in perfect condition. Yeah, you can get a lot from Freecycle. And also Frugal. I prefer Frugal. We've got Frugal in my area. We've got both groups, but Frugal just seems to work better in my area. You can get things from Facebook Marketplace for free, can't you? There are free groups on Facebook. And also Olio. You can get a lot of free stuff from Olio as well if you have that. I don't buy paper towels. I use old tea towels and chuck in the machine. Yep. I also never bought paper towels for years and just had rags. I have just recently, because I have got an old cat who's sick a lot, started to buy paper towels again. But that's all they get used for because I don't want to clear out the sick and then wash things. So I kind of got fed up with doing that. I use my air fryer instead of the oven. totally. Totally. I use my air fryer all the time as well. I re-gift anything that's not to my taste, so it saves clutter and the environment. I have a Dobbies card. Dobbies we don't have here, but it's a garden centre in other bits of the UK, in case you don't know. She's got a Dobbies card. That's £15 a year. So you pay £15 a year, but then you get 2 free cups of tea or coffee a month. So that's quite good. So if you get 2 free cups of tea or coffee, you can meet friends in Dobbies and you don't have to pay. You get 2 cakes and 2 drinks on your birthday as well. So that pays for the card. It's a social outing out. Well, that's quite a good idea, isn't it? As long as you're not tempted, because I am dreadful in garden centres. I actually ask for garden vouchers a lot for my birthdays because I could just buy the whole garden centre. There's also so many lovely plants I want. I only use the car for work, and I try to make sure that I do any jobs en route when I'm out and about already, so my days off aren't wasted and my petrol's not wasted. And there's also a massive Salvation Army store on the way to work, so I call in regularly for a look and get some amazing bargains. I no longer wash my hair daily, and I cut hubby's hair. My hairdresser always says you shouldn't wash your hair every day anyway, because I used to wash mine every day. Now I do it every other day, and the only reason I do it as often as that is because it just does its own thing and it pings up everywhere. The greyer it's got, I know it looks blonde, but it's not natural. The greyer it's got, the madder it's got, my hair. So, and I'm not having it cut very much. That does save money. So she said the same thing. My hair's curly and insane if it's not kept in check. So she cuts her hubby's hair. Kylie uses washable cloths instead of toilet paper. I know not everybody wants to do that, do they? Family cloth, they call it as well. I have never gone that far. I kind of have thought about it, particularly during COVID, when toilet paper was difficult to get, although we had plenty. But I don't think everybody would want to do that. I can see that would save waste and it would also save money if you're happy to do it. Helena says, I splurged on some Moaning coffee syrups. I don't know what that is. Moaning. And I buy the Taylor's coffee bags, 10 for £3. I make up my 500ml thermal bottle, and every day I want one. I enjoy a coffee shop coffee for less than 50p. Sam finally grates bars of soap, adds with 40 to 60, she puts 40 to 60 grams per litre of water, shakes well. It's hand bath or shower wash for pennies. That is a good tip. That's a good tip. I think you probably have to use warm water to really get that dissolved. Carla does buying secondhand, gardening, wild foraging and preserving. That's good as well. I love to look out for blackberries in particular for preserving and then make blackberry or bramble jelly. Gardening, we're obviously growing a lot this year. We're growing quite a bit. We've got lots of runner beans coming. We'll shortly have courgettes. They're little tiny ones at the moment. Got tomatoes in here and just ripening off. Got loads more tomatoes coming through. Got kale that looks like it's about ready, and also some chard that's ready at the moment. Taking care of what she has, says Carla, so it doesn't need to be replaced. It's a very good point. Looking after the things that you have so you don't have to replace them. And buy quality in the first place so that it's worth looking after is what I'd say as well. Ultimately, not buying is the frugal way, says Gail. Diane bathes her dog and cuts her nails. She used to use the pet parlour at £30 a time, but over COVID she had to do it herself, so she's carried on. That's £30 a month saved. Me and Justin have been clipping Archie for the last couple of months. It's not as good as when the groomer does it, and we will go to the groomer every few months, but he hates it, and it saves us money, so we've been doing it, having a go. We're getting a bit better at it, actually. It's the bit around his face that I struggle with, because Archie will do this, and when you're trying to, he won't keep his head still, so you need 2 of you, one of you to clamp his head down and the other one to cut it. We're not very good at that bit, but we wash him as well. We haven't done his nails yet, but I think that's something we might want to consider investing in, something to do his nails with. I think a grinder rather than a cutter. I've got clippers for the cat's nails, but it's not really strong enough for Archie's nails. Gemma says budgeting. So I have a set amount of food, a set amount for animals' food, and a set amount for fuel. I withdraw this from the bank the day I'm paid. That's a good idea. I mean, I guess you can't withdraw, you can, because some people do the envelope system, the cash envelope system, don't they? That does not suit me because I don't want a load of cash in my house and in my handbag. I don't want that. Everything else goes straight into any bills I need to pay, and whatever is left over is immediately transferred into a savings account. If I have cash left over from the food shop, animal food shop, or fuel money, that will be spent on things like clothes, mostly second-hand, as I consider that money separate to the bills and savings money. I mean, God, that is really organised budgeting, isn't it? Glynis says, hubby is the mechanic on most things on our car. He can do all the work on it. She buys second-hand clothes. She never eats out or buys coffee. She cuts both their hair. She never buys ready meals and cooks everything herself. Grows a little of her own potatoes and vegetables. So if you've got the skills to do your own car, then that makes sense. Justin and his brother always check mine over and theirs over. They do oil change and they'll do some basic stuff. They check the tyres are pumped up. They maintain it rather than do the work on it. But we're really, really lucky that we've got a friend who's a mechanic, and he will do the MOTs for us for much, much reduced amount of money. So we are very, very lucky to have him. If we've got any problems, he will do stuff for us, do whatever repairs are needed. So we hardly ever have to use a garage these days. So we are really, really lucky to have that. I think the point about cooking everything from scratch is particularly good, and not buying ready meals. I appreciate sometimes you have to buy ready meals. Sometimes, if you're ill, I bought a few ready meals when I had my operation, actually just have in the freezer. If you're ill or if you've got ongoing chronic illnesses, sometimes buying things ready prepared is the only way to go. But if you're not and you've got the time, then cooking from scratch saves a load of money. Gail says watching utility usage carefully. And if you've got a smart meter, you can really see what you're using. It's so nice in the summer looking at my smart meter and just hardly even used £1 in the day. It's mostly just for running things like the fridge and the freezer, hardly anything else. In the winter, it's a whole different story, and you've got the heating on, and you can see the meter going up. I'll keep an eye on it, and it's like jumpers on. Everybody's wearing jumpers and layers and sitting under blankets before I just blast out the heating all day. When you do use the oven, always cooking multiple dishes. So I don't use the oven very much, but if I'm going to cook something in the oven, I will try and do Archie's chicken as a minimum. So Archie has chicken. He doesn't have commercial dog food because he has various food allergies. So I will make a point of cooking that at the same time, or making a cake or trying to use it. So I agree with Gail on that one. Gay does her own sewing, makes curtains, repairs to clothes, replaces buttons, repairs split seams or holes. She also washes and polishes her own car. She goes to charity shops, takes packed lunches out and flasks on a day out. All of the things that have been mentioned already. But yeah, doing your own sewing, if you've got those skills, it's another frugal skill that's worth developing. Mandy says she does not use any fabric softener for laundry. She uses soda crystals. I've tried soda crystals, I've tried vinegar, and actually I just don't use anything now. I know some people love to have really soft towels and things, but I actually quite like crispy towels. I've mentioned this before. They feel like they're absorbing the water. I think fabric softeners kind of coat your fabric, so they're not really making it soft, they're just coating it with something gungy, which makes it feel soft, but it also stops things like towels being absorbent. What else does she say? She doesn't buy much cleaning stuff. She uses a squirt of antibacterial washing up liquid in an old spray bottle and uses that for a lot of cleaning. You just need some soap, don't you? You just need something soapy. You could even just use plain washing up liquid. Diane collects runoff water, as she has a combi boiler and it takes ages to come through. That is the same. We have a combi boiler here. It takes ages to come through. So we collect the cold stuff, or actually a lot of the time I'll wash up in cold water now because I think I'm not standing here for ages waiting for this hot water to come through. Debbie says she has never bought ready-made meals or desserts at a grocery store. So she makes all her own stuff, saves loads of money. Eating out is just a couple of times a year. It's the same with us. We don't eat out very often, and it's a real treat when we do it, and it has to be good. I think if I go and eat out and it's not good, I feel really cheated, so I'll tend to go where I know we're going to get a good meal. Pip says take bottled tap water everywhere and refill on your way out. She does quiz nights at £2 a go for a fun night out, and any winnings going to the pot for a team Christmas meal out. So if you've got somewhere that will do a quiz for £2 a go, that's worth going to, if you find like a village hall or something. Village halls do a lot of really cheap things like that. They do here. We're a town officially, but we are very, very small. But our local church hall does loads of really cheap things. And there's a community centre as well that does loads of cheap events. So yeah, it's always worth looking out for those kind of things so you can have a social life without spending a fortune. Pip doesn't make a shopping list. She makes meals from whatever bargains she finds. I think you can do that if it's just you. If you're doing meals for a family, then maybe it wouldn't always work. I know that Mean Queen does that. She just buys everything on yellow sticker and just eats whatever she finds. So Mickey, she's one of the moderators on my group, and she grows so much food. They grow nearly all of their own food, certainly their own fresh produce. They are meat eaters, so they obviously don't produce their own meat. But she grows all her own food, and she saves seeds from the year before. And I'm going to do that this year, so Mickey will be helping me to do that. And she makes her own compost. So honestly, her plot is amazing. If you come over to my group, you'll see pictures of Mickey's, all the produce at this time of year. And her husband has a drone, and they have been looking at the allotment from the air, and it looks amazingly organised. Honestly, they are, but they spend a lot of time down there. You know, that's a massive hobby. Jackie bought pine furniture for the bedroom 18 years ago and then has repainted it to match her changing decor taste, and we've done the same. I bought pine furniture a long time ago, and it was plain pine, but it was good quality. That would probably have been about 20 years ago, similar time span, and I've repainted it a couple of times to match my changing decor. The dresser behind was actually a honey pine bought by my parents in the 70s, which I've kept. It's been various colours. As you can see, it's currently a lovely pink. Diana says passing down her children's clothes to their younger siblings. Absolutely, why would you not do that? Have a TV box for streaming, so rarely going to the cinema. And actually the cinema is so expensive now, isn't it? I mean, you're looking £18, £20 a person, unless you can find one of those deals. So Compare the Market does deals and other places do deals. Or a friend of mine pointed out that we've got, and I'd forgotten about it, we have a little community centre. It's run by the council in a seaside town not far from us, and it's about a fiver for tickets. I mean, just did a been a few times, probably 5 years ago, and then we've just kind of gone off the boil and forgotten about it. I know why. It's since we had Archie, and he is such a wimp. I want to find a cinema I can take the dog to. But yes, it's a great cinema. So if you can find something like that, really old-fashioned small cinema, then you'll get much better bargains. Cutting back on alcohol and only having it for special occasions or if we have visitors. Alcohol is quite expensive, especially in the UK, because you have to pay so much tax on it. Providing plants for my son's garden and getting plants in return from him for his, I mean, it's free plants, isn't it? My dad used to give us plants that he got from his garden in that way. Not being able to pass a skip without seeing if there's anything useful in it. I am rather like that myself. Always buy the best quality item that I can, as often they last longer. Hoovers, white goods and clothes. And I bang on about this a lot. Buying quality where you can and then looking after things. Mel says they cut each other's hair. Luckily, hubby and I both have short hair, so a set of clippers and we've saved a bomb. It's all right if you don't mind a buzz cut, isn't it? I buy white vinegar in bulk. It pretty much cleans anything in the kitchen and the bathroom. I fragrance mine with leftover citrus peel. Just jar it up for a few weeks, strain it off, pop it in a straight bottle. It's great neat for mirrors and glass. Yep, I've done that too. So particularly if you're using, you're going to be using lemons for a recipe, keep them, stick them in to vinegar to make it smell nice. Although, I'll use vinegar as it is, and I buy it in bulk as well. Sabine says, whenever we get insurance renewal quotes, I ring them up and ask for a discount. I've not had a no yet. That's true, because I always shop around. I've got my car breakdown insurance coming up, and it's gone up so much. But I know from past experience with them that if I ring up and say, look, I found this better deal, they'll generally match it. And if they don't, then I'll just swap. Heather says, I dry clothes on the line all the time instead of tumble drying them. Jennifer says, living in a soft water area, I don't need a whole dishwasher tablet. So she cuts it in half and just uses half a dishwasher tablet. And that is really the case. When you're in a soft water area, even you'll need a tiny bit of shampoo and a tiny bit of washing up liquid and that kind of thing, because it all froths up. I noticed that from going to stay with my northern relatives, that you just don't need much soap, and I put far too much shampoo on my hair and it took ages to rinse out. Linda makes her own butter from buying yellow sticker cream, which is better for her too. I never see yellow sticker cream. I've heard loads of people in my group have said they make their own butter, but I literally never seen cream on yellow sticker. Ali says she saved loads of money by living with a handyman, and Justin's pretty handy as well, but he doesn't do everything and he doesn't have time to do everything. But Ali's husband has just fitted their new pre-loved kitchen. He's saved me a fortune in 24 years. Oh, there's lots of people on my group who are very, very handy and can do woodwork and that kind of thing. There was another one called Caroline, and she and her husband had created just a kitchen just from bits. So they hadn't even bought proper kitchen units. They had used things like old dressers, and they'd put them together and put work surfaces on top, and it looked so quirky and original and really gorgeous. And they were just things that they'd found. They'd either got them for free or they'd spent very little money on them. Lynn does something that I haven't mentioned yet. She does meal planning, but she also does batch cooking. So batch cooking, you can make a lot of something, one dish, and then freeze the extras, and then you've got ready meals when you don't have much time, and you save money because you can buy bulk ingredients as well. She eats mainly veggie dishes. Meat's expensive. So Maya says she saves up containers and pots and jars and things so that whenever she's got leftovers, she's got somewhere to save them. It's amazing how many meals I've produced from a fridge dive. I love that. I'll tend to freeze them, and I make soup, so I'll have bits of bobs of leftover potatoes or vegetables and things like that, or stock. So obviously I don't eat meat now, but Justin still does, and if I ever cook a whole chicken, I'll make stock to use for soup. Kay says use solid soap bars instead of liquid soap. I really agree with this. I always use solid soap. I do it mainly from an eco point of view, but it's much cheaper to use solid soap than it is to use bottles and bottles of liquid hand wash. Diane says she's not bought cleaning or washing up cloths for decades. She rips up old clothing and bedding. She's vegan, and that is cheaper to be vegan as long as you cook from scratch. You can easily buy a lot of processed vegan stuff these days. Bernice says, I'm reading down, nodding to everything so far. Not seen mentioned yet, so I'm going to add diluting pretty much everything that comes in a bottle with water. So that can be juice, hair conditioner, detergents, etc. It takes a while to work out how much water to add, but I've worked it out over the years. Adding washing soda to laundry to soften the water and cut through grease, so I can use a lot less powder and still get things clean. Ronnie says, I've always kept water and soft drinks and a plastic box of biscuits in the car. This comes from years of long journeys with kids who wanted a drink at petrol stations or services, and also for when I'm stuck in long traffic jams. I do it with the grandkids now. That is a good one. That's a good one. Have some snacks. My problem would be I always take a water bottle out. And if I know I'm doing a long journey, I'll always have snacks. But I don't tend to keep them in the car because then I'll just eat them because I know they're there. Kaylee says, I buy and sell on Vinted. I'm hooked. I haven't bought a new outfit for ages. She's bought a dress. She says the dress in her profile picture was for a charity gala and it was £4 from Vinted. I won't show you her picture, but it's a posh frock, so £4 from Vinted. The problem with Vinted, I have found in the past, is that it's too easy to scroll and buy things you don't need or even didn't know you wanted until you started looking. It's great for selling, though. I sell a lot of stuff on Vinted as well. Julianne does her own nails, brows and pedicures. She works as a massage therapist, so she can work as and when to fit in with my family, so obviously she's confident doing her own treatments. I make soaps and candles. There's no way I'd spend £20 on a candle when I can make the same thing. I make my own wines and infused vodkas. Well, we've done that as well. We've made slow vodka, but we don't really drink it. I like slow gin though. I have made my own wine in the past. I haven't got the equipment now and I haven't done it for ages, but it's something that my dad did. And then when I grew a lot of soft fruit early on, I made some lovely gooseberry wine. It was pink gooseberry. And what else? Raspberry wine, that was nice. But some of my dad's wines from the 70s and 80s was hilarious. He tried a potato peeling wine. It was absolutely rank, disgusting. It exploded under the stairs as well. So certain wine I wouldn't bother with. Janet says, I park out of town and walk in rather than pay for the car parks in town, which are more expensive. Absolutely, that really does make a difference. Fiona says she only buys food if it's yellow stickered, if at all possible. We've had some weird combinations over the years, but we've been fed and that's best. She doesn't own a car, so she walks everywhere and uses the bus for longer journeys. She doesn't drive, she doesn't smoke, she doesn't have a TV. I think not having a TV, although you can stream things if you can get a good deal on your streaming service, or use a free streaming service, even better. So you can stream things. But if you don't watch TV at all, you don't get all of those adverts. And if you've got kids, they're not constantly tempted by all the things that the marketers are telling us we've got to buy. So I think you save money from that point of view. Sonia says, portion size. You don't need as much on your plate as your stomach tells you. My stomach is telling me I'm starving for lunch right now, actually. I might have to go in a minute. Helen says when she goes out to have maybe tea and cake once in a while, she has a pot of tea for one but asks for 2 cups, and she'll have a scone or a piece of cake and ask for 2 plates, and they'll share. The portion sizes these days are ridiculous, so I have no shame in asking for this and sharing. Claire says she takes individual pots of porridge and reduced price fruit for breakfast when she goes to hotels that charge for breakfast separately. It's a good idea, we've done that as well. Or she eats at Wetherspoons when they're out for the day, because Wetherspoons is cheap, but I don't like it, I have to say. Rachel says, I always pop into a shop for a multi-pack of ice lollies for the kids instead of buying them separately. And that is true. Me and Mum did that yesterday. We were quite close to her flat, but it was a really hot day. We fancied a lolly. I popped into Iceland and bought a pack of their own value, their own brand fabs, and rather than buying them. So we sat and ate one, and then we got back to her flat to put the rest in her freezer, so that's a good one. Mary says she knits small gifts such as hats and neck warmers and gloves for presents. Although somebody laughingly says, why buy an item for £10 when you can get a £15 pattern, £8.50 of fabric, and sew it yourself in 3.5 years? You've got to laugh at that. Some people, it's not your thing. It's not your thing. It can save you money if you can pick up the things you need to make cheaply. Pamela says she buys from charity shops for her grandchildren, buying lots of little toys and books for very little cash. And I used to go to the boot sale with my kids when they were small, and I'd give them a small amount of pocket money, and then they could go and choose some things for themselves, and they loved it. Now, if I'd taken them to a big toy store, they would not have been able to buy the same amount, and they wouldn't have been able to buy probably anything. They'd have ended up buying some felt tips or something. That's pretty much it from that thread, but I thought it was really interesting to see all of the different things that we do, and that we do so many the same. So there are some things there that everybody does, particularly the cleaning products. Lots of people do those, taking drinks and snacks out with you and that kind of thing. So anyway, that's lots of small things that you can do to save quite large sums of money over time. Let me know in the comments what yours are. I'd love to hear if we've missed any out. And do come over to my group and join if you feel like chatting with like-minded people. Thank you so much for watching this. Sorry about the lag and the poor camera quality, but if you enjoyed this, give me the thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.